How you doing, guys? It's Eric from Wasteland.com. This video is about something that I've been thinking a lot about lately. I haven't exactly finalized my thoughts on the subject and exactly how you can get this to work, but I definitely think it's a good idea, and I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' input on the subject and how you could incorporate this into your preparedness plans. We've seen a lot of stuff lately with civil unrest, different types of, riots, if you want to call that, demonstrations, mostly peaceful protests, and all sorts of stuff like that that have gotten me thinking on this subject that this particular upgrade to your preparedness, to your kit, could be a good idea. The one thing I'm just not certain of is exactly how to incorporate it into your loadout, into preparedness, whatever. But regardless, it's a good idea to have it around, this particular piece of gear. It's relatively inexpensive, if not very inexpensive, and could come in handy in a host of situations that have nothing to do with the things that I just mentioned. Just normal everyday preparedness, this thing could come in handy, vehicle preparedness, and certainly in terms of civil unrest and violent activity, especially in urban areas. But so the thing that I've been seeing, and I'm sure you've all seen this too, in a lot of these demonstrations and a lot of these Antifa type protests and attacks and whatever, even if the people aren't there to counter protest or whatever, you have a chance of getting wrapped up in this stuff if it's happening in your city. And one of the things that frequently comes up in these situations is different types of arson, different types of, attacks with fire, Molotov cocktails, everything like that. There's just always ends up being fire in these situations. And we've seen videos where people get themselves caught on fire, trying to start the fire. They get other people caught on fire. There's just always a chance that something could end with someone being on fire, which is incredibly difficult to deal with a lot of times, especially in a situation where you're already out and about. I was looking around, I keep fire extinguishers in the house. It's a good idea to keep them in the vehicles as well. But there wasn't really an option for really small fire extinguishers that make sense to carry on your person to put out someone who's on fire, to put out yourself, if your leg catches on fire, if someone throws a Molotov cocktail at you or your buddies or whatever. The ones that are big enough to actually do anything are too big to carry around, on your person realistically. So I was struggling with a way to deal with the threat without having something absurd like a big fire extinguisher on your back. And one thing that I came across that I actually already had and hadn't thought about using this capacity was a fire blanket. I think this was actually from BattleBox originally, and there's different versions of these. They're relatively cheap. I think they're $30 or something. I'll put the Amazon link in the description to the similar ones with different options. Just make sure that you're getting one that's relatively big. This one is 3 feet by 3 feet. They make some that are bigger, I think 50 inches on one side. Just make sure you're not accidentally getting one that's the size of a napkin. But this is just a fiberglass blanket that you can use to smother a fire, to keep it from breathing. So when someone's doing the stop, drop, and roll thing, you just pull the blanket out, and it even has little tabs on here, so you just pull it out and it comes out. And then you just use this to flap it onto them, and it'll smother the fire. It can work on all sorts of fires in your kitchen, a grease fire. It can, if you have your vehicle, you could throw it over the engine bay and potentially even put out a fire there. Might not work as well because the engine bay is raised and it could get oxygen from beneath, but it still has a good shot of handling it much better than not doing anything. But the specific reason that I was thinking of this was for people who are on fire. If your legs catch on fire, if your buddy catches on fire, an innocent bystander, things like that, throw this on top of them and you can smother the fire. And this handy pouch allows it to be mounted somewhere. And that's what I wanted your guys' help with, is coming up with the best way to carry this. Now, obviously, you could throw this into a cargo pocket of like some BDUs pretty easily. You could even fold it in half. You don't have to have it in this red container. You could have it in various sorts of dump pouches and things like that. I was trying to come up with a way, if you had a, like your normal vest, if you have the plate pocket, maybe putting it in the plate pocket with the tab sticking up so you could just whip it out there. Certainly if you're not carrying rifle plates, they would fit in there pretty easily, and it could potentially even act as a bit of a trauma pad. It is many layers of fiberglass, so not only would it be a little bit of a cushion and a little bit of padding, would make you a little bit fire resistant from the front. And but what I was worried that if you just stuck it in the plate pouch, pulling it out might pull the plate out as well, so you want to, avoid that. But there's obviously all sorts of ways that you could carry this. If you have a plate carrier vest, you could try to find ways to affix it to the back or the front. I guarantee you there's some MOLLE pouches out there that these probably fit in pretty well. But regardless, at the very least, I think you should throw one of these in your cargo pocket and or at least in your vehicle, something like that to have around. They're just too inexpensive, and obviously there's no issues with storage. It's just a fiberglass blanket, no issues with it expiring, things like that. It does say that you're not supposed to use it or to reuse it. You're supposed to discard after use, but if you put a fire out on somebody, it wouldn't be like, whoops, sorry. I would, keep using it. Then after that incident, then obviously you could get another one, which is very easy because, like I said, they're not expensive. Made 100% glass fabric, and so it's not gonna melt or burn. That's the whole idea. That's it, man. That's a pretty simple plan that I had. And let me know if you guys have any better ideas for how to carry it, because I think that's important. The one situation in which I've seen where that could most often be useful is when people are out on foot just wearing some kind of kit or not, and there's some kind of protest, some kind of civil unrest, some kind of altercation, and somebody ends up on fire. So you want to have it in a way that you could carry it on your person, have it be quickly accessible. And that's not hard, but let me know if you guys have any creative ideas for that. And if you have something like that in your future, I bet most of you do not. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're just way ahead of the game. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.